Okay, good morning. I have a little bit more to say about compassion because there's the analogy of compassion being like a mother's love. And there's a little bit more to say about that. And Buddhism is wonderful, but it's sexist. So I'm going to say what I think about that sexism when I encounter it. And all right, so compassion is not like a mother's love because it doesn't infantilize the other. And that is extremely important to keep in mind. A mother's love is between a mother and an infant. As the infant grows and becomes themselves more fully and more adult, that mother love changes and what it entails changes. But when we're talking about a mother's love, we always imagine the other person that is being loved as a baby or a child. But compassion, it recognizes the sameness between us, that we're all caught in the same cycle of existence, even if we don't believe in karma or rebirth. We can believe in compassion arising because we're all in the same boat. We all feel the same. We're all human together. You can extend that. And, I had this moment in neurobiology class where I realized that the mammalian brain, the human mammal brain and the rat mammal brain are almost the same in structure and function, which meant that we have the same feelings. So when a human mother is holding her baby and a rat mother is holding her baby, that feeling is the same feeling. Think about that for a second. Whoa. Now, I have some notes here. We can approach compassion and grow our compassion by using the example of the mother's love, because there's a lot of self-sacrifice that goes along in a mother's love that she does without thinking about it too much. That's the stereotype, though, because when I became a mother, I was just a young teenager. I was 19 when I had my first baby. And I was pregnant in my 18th year, and I was a mom in my 19th year. And I did not realize that though I loved this little infant, I did not realize how much it would ask of me. And if I had known in advance just how much it would ask of me, I would have been too afraid to do it, to go through with it. But because I had no real understanding, I only knew that women had been giving birth and being mothers for millennia. As long as we've been a species, I knew it was possible to do. And I decided to do it. But in order to take care of this child, in order to give what he needed, it was beyond my resources. And I needed to go outside of myself to find others to help. So this idea that the mother's love is the only nourishment and the only source, complete source for the infant, that's a false idea. That's a sexist idea. And it harms girls and women. It makes that idea, that belief, makes girls and women sacrifice alone too much, too hard, and burn right out. And it costs them, and it cost me. Instead of spending my time building a network of friends and family and having a realistic idea of what was entailed, right? I was busy trying to go it alone and be the perfect mother. And I think when one is sacrificing too much of oneself, compassion is not the reason why. It can't grow. Resentment grows instead. And Ekong Rinpoche was saying in his book, along with the metaphor of compassion being like a mother's love, he did go on to say, don't try to extend too much too soon before you're ready. And I really see this a lot in myself when I read Buddhist teachings. I expect myself to be at the highest level. To read it, I understand it intellectually, and then I think, I can do that. Thich Nhat Hanh is another teacher that I read a lot of, and he wrote a story about a bodhisattva who was the daughter of a king. And when she grew up, she went off and was bodhisattva in a mountain somewhere, and people would come to her and ask for blessings. And the king ran into hard times, and he came to her several times, and each time she would sacrifice a part of herself for him and give it freely, without a thought, without even a thought for herself. And I believed for a long time that I could do that for my sons and for my second set of children and for all the children I cared for in early childhood education, and for all my students and my colleagues and co-workers and everybody. I thought that I could make all the sacrifices and it wouldn't cost me anything because I was doing it for their sake, right? But I'm not that developed, actually. And there is so much pain and sadness that I need to process now because I wasn't ready. I wasn't there yet, And like one of the things that I did that I do resent was that I worked for low wages in early childhood education, believing that wages didn't matter and that I could sacrifice that so that I could have the work environment and be with these children and have them be with me, and that they would be loved, and where maybe another teacher wouldn't love them the way I would love them, right? And that sacrifice was unnecessary, and it didn't advance the situation of women in low-paid work. And any other early childhood educator would give appropriate care also. I was replaceable. So there's a lot to think about with that analogy of compassion being like a mother's love. Because a mother is not a superhuman being. A mother is not a bodhisattva. Nor does she want to be. Yet. I still have a feeling that that's where I want to go. I would love to be able to give freely without harming myself, without feeling bad about it at some point for some reason, But I'm just not there yet. And maybe I'm on my way, and that's good enough. Okay, so think about compassion, but take the mother's love with a grain of salt. That's all I've got to say. I think I really am done talking about it now. Thanks for listening.